Welcome back to the Ed Show. Something about this story I kind of like. Democratic lawmaker from Florida set off a firestorm when he went to the House floor last night and said this about the Republicans in health care.
Here it is. The Republicans' health care plan for America. Don't get sick. That's right. Don't get sick. If you have insurance, don't get sick. If you don't have insurance, don't get sick. If you get sick, America, the Republican health care plan is this. Die quickly. That's right. The Republicans want you to die quickly if you get sick.
Republican lawmakers, you know, they jumped all over it. They're looking for any excuse to distract from the real issues in the health care debate, so they're going to go after that comment in the middle of the night. Today, Congressman Tom Price took a break from calling for an end to Medicare to demand an apology.
We respectfully request that he apologize to our leader. And I call on all Democrat members of the House and all Democrat leaders to demand that he apologize, just as one of our members did earlier.
Didn't Tom DeLay say that the Democrats wanted to win the White House more than they wanted to win the war on terror? I don't know. Maybe that. I don't know. I thought I heard that. You know, look, I find this outrageous. From the party of death panels to be fake. Congressman Grayson did not back down. And unlike Joe Wilson, he gave his apology on the House floor.
Several Republicans asked me to apologize. Well, I would like to apologize. I would like to apologize to the dead. And here's why. According to this study, health insurance and mortality in U.S. adults, which was published 2 weeks ago, 44,789 Americans die every year because they have no health insurance. That is more than 10 times the number of Americans who died in the war in Iraq. It's more than 10 times the number of Americans who died in 9/11. I apologize to the dead and their families that we haven't voted sooner to end this Holocaust in America.
You know, folks, I think it needs to be profoundly pointed out tonight that that man did not break the rules. And they're trying to compare this to Representative Joe Wilson, who yelled out at a joint session of the Congress when the president was speaking, "You lie." That was breaking the rules. What this congressman from Florida did, Alan Grayson, he didn't break the rules. You know what he did? He went by the rules. And it's interesting how all these righties are so concerned about this. You know, the fairness doctrine. They're worried about freedom of speech being taken away. Well, there's freedom of speech. The guy goes to the floor under the rules, gives an opinion. I thought we were still in America. Joining me now is Congressman Anthony Weiner of New York. Congressman, good to have you with us tonight.
My pleasure.
I want to talk about Eric Cantor with you. He is saying that the Democrats aren't with the people. Can you respond to that?
Well, I like Eric Cantor, and if he had a plan for dealing with health care, maybe he'd come on the show and debate it with me, but he doesn't have one, nor do his Republican colleagues. Look, the fact of the matter is people say they want this problem solved, not only people who are not insured, but people who are having their rates go through the roof. Right now, every single year, our insurance rates go up $1,000 a year. Most Americans see that as a Republican tax that they're paying because of their inaction on health care.
Congressman, did I hear you say you'd like to debate him on this program? Can we organize that? I mean, can you and I maybe make an invitation over to Mr. Cantor's office? Because I'll give both you guys face-to-face. We'll go an hour. I'll dedicate an hour with you, Mr. Weiner, and also Mr. Cantor to go at it about health care. You okay with that?
Listen, I'd certainly love to do it. I like Eric Cantor, and frankly, I feel a little bad for him that he has to go out and shop around some of these ideas. You know, when he says at a town hall meeting that if you're uninsured, you just go to the hospital, they'll take care of it, he must think that the bill fairy pays those bills. I'm not quite sure what he thinks. But look, I admire the idea that someone like Eric Cantor, after 6 years having Republicans control the House and the Senate and the White House, and still this problem gets worse, I admire him saying anything at all. But if he wants to debate, as we say in Brooklyn, bring it on, Chickie.
Let's get it on. All right. Now, let's talk about what happened over on the Senate side yesterday. There is some conversation. I was in conversation with Harry Reid's office today. There's a real possibility that the Senate may end up with a bill without a public option and then rely on all of it taking place in the conference committee and the final stage where the legislation's actually written. If that's the case, Congressman Weiner, does this not put pressure on the House to make sure that a strong public option comes out of your chamber?
100%. And I think that Nancy Pelosi has already said that very clearly, that there's going to be a public option in, but not just for those of us who think that there should be choice, but for all of my budget hawk colleagues. The only way to contain costs and the best way to reduce that CBO score is to have competition, because the Congressional Budget Office, who's not started on these things, say if you want to save money, you can't just leave it to the insurance companies. We're going to have a strong public option. There's going to be a conference committee. President Obama is going to say he wants a strong public option, and that's what the American people are going to get.
All right, the White House has given the Democrats some backup as well on this. This is Robert Gibbs on how the GOP does not have a plan. Here it is.
Let me tell you, there's a series of two-way streets between here and Capitol Hill. There are plenty of ways to there's plenty of ways to be constructive. We'd be happy to evaluate their comprehensive proposal to provide health care reform to the American people. If you want to get it from them, I'll be happy to take it over to Ledge Affairs.
Well, it's interesting that the White House is aggressive on that point, Congressman Weiner, because your colleague, Alan Grayson, went to the floor last night and called him out and said that the Republican plan is to die quickly. You go along with that? Do you agree with him?
Well, I like this guy, Grayson. Usually we don't let freshmen speak their first term, but we got to get this guy out there more. Look, he was only being slightly ironic. If you look at what many of the Republicans are saying, essentially, is don't do anything. Well, frankly, don't do anything is a formula for more people dying prematurely, for more people being bankrupted in their homes, and we, the taxpayer, paying a much higher bill. So Congressman Grayson had it exactly right. Now, and I also like the idea he used the same overheated language that the Republicans have been using at town hall meetings all around the country. Frankly, what this is about is not just about the people who are uninsured. It's about the rest of us that have insurance who are paying too much for it in higher premiums and too much for it in higher taxes.
So you have no problem with what he said on the floor last night?
Well, frankly, the type of language he used, saying that Republicans are this or that, I'll say it right here. The Republican Party is a wholly owned subsidiary of the insurance industry. I guess they'll want to bring me up on charges next.
All right. Congressman Weiner, good to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
For more, let's bring in our panel tonight. Sam Stein, political reporter for the Huffington Post, and Michael Medved, nationally syndicated radio talk show host. Gentlemen, good to have you on. Let's talk about this comment of Mr. Grayson. Are you offended, Michael Medved? I mean, let's face it, the Republicans don't have a plan, and there are people that are left out there to,